Special counsel Jack Smith came out and made his announcement. This was a historic moment for him and for many people who've wanted to see this for a long time. They were salivating, very excited about what is to come, but it wasn't really instructive. We didn't hear a lot of details in this press conference. It was only a couple minutes long, but what we did hear was something very curious, which was the word speedy trial. Quick, interesting phrase, rather, that the special counsel said. Sound like Joe Biden here. One word, speedy trial. So Jack Smith is coming out, making this announcement, and he is keeping it short, just a couple minutes. Not a lot of details in there, but speedy trial is the phrase. And so today I want to go through that. It's a very short statement from Jack Smith, but we are going to look at the speedy trial rules because I pulled up the statistics from the various federal district courts, and we can see how quickly they are moving cases through. In other words, from the time of the arraignment, or from the time of filing, which is where we're at now in Trump's case, how quickly until a trial. Now we're going to go through some reaction. We know that Trump is appearing for his arraignment. There's a lot of stuff going on there. I wanted to highlight some of it. But also, the judge, Eileen Cannon, is going to be sticking around on the case, which is tremendous news for Trump, and we'll dive into that. So the announcement came out from Jack Smith, and he walked out 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Here's what he said.
Good afternoon. Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump with felony violations of our national security laws, as well as participating in a conspiracy to obstruct justice. This indictment was voted by a grand jury of citizens in the Southern District of Florida, and I invite everyone to read it in full.
We did.
To understand the scope and the gravity of the crimes charged. The men and women of the United States intelligence community and our armed forces dedicate their lives to protecting our nation and its people. Our laws that protect national defense information are critical for the safety and security of the United States, and they must be enforced. Violations of those laws put our country at risk. Adherence to the rule of law is a bedrock principle of the Department of Justice, and our nation's commitment to the rule of law sets an example for the world.
It does set an example.
We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone.
No, they don't.
Applying those laws, collecting facts, that's what determines the outcome of an investigation.
No, it doesn't.
Nothing more and nothing less.
No, political hacks are leading it.
The prosecutors in my office are among the most talented and experienced in the Department of Justice. They have investigated this case hewing to the highest ethical standards, and they will continue to do so as this case proceeds.
We'll see about all that. We're going to get their names.
It's very important for me to note
all the complaints that have been lodged against them.
In this case must be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. To that end, my office will seek a speedy trial in this matter, consistent with the public interest and the rights of the accused. We very much look forward to presenting our case to a jury of citizens in the Southern District of Florida. In conclusion, I would like to thank the dedicated public servants of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, with whom my office is conducting this investigation and who work tirelessly every day upholding the rule of law in our country. I'm deeply proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with them. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he's really proud of his other teammates who helped him with this political prosecution, with this political assault that is taking place. So he's made that announcement. Again, not many details there, but the big question was, what is he talking about here with speedy trial? How quick, how speedy, Jack, do you want to get this done? We know that defendants have the right to a speedy trial, but they also have the right to due process, and they also have the right to review discovery, and they have different appeals rights at different junctures in the case. And so they have all sorts of capability to confront their accusers and do interviews and work with expert witnesses. And certainly this is going to take a lot of time from the defense side. This is a very complicated case, as you've said. We've got 37 counts, a number of different charges here. So if Trump has an interest in pushing this back, and I think that he does, the government has one in getting this done ASAP so that Trump can be removed from the game, which I think is ultimately their end game here, which is why this is prosecution 2 of 4, which will be coming. So speedy trials. The filing date in this, as we know, was June 2023. And I want to share with you this document, which is from the federal courts. In fact, this is an interesting document just to show you kind of what happened during the COVID era as well. You can see that United States District Court National Judicial Caseload Profile, right? How many cases does the court have? And one of the key things that we want to focus on is you can see caseloads, like overall caseload statistics, how many new filings per month, right? So federal courts, 370,000 filings. All right. What we're curious about is this number here, the median times in the number of months from the filing date to the disposition. Okay, so Trump just got charged. How long until we get to a dispo, till the case gets resolved? Trump is not going to be taking a plea deal, as far as I can tell. And so we're here. It's criminal felony is what we're talking about, given the fact he's got charged with 37 of them. So the time from the filing to the disposition is 11 months. That's the national standard. 11 months. So COVID took it from about 7 months to about 9 months, and then ultimately up to 11 months. Everything got bogged down. But now you can see, because they're bogged down, they're wanting to resolve cases. But now you can see this all got extended. So 11 months. This is just on the national average. And now there are different times on this. So actually, this is out of the District of Columbia. So we're not there yet. Trump is going to be charged here at some point. I imagine it's going to be pretty soon. But look at this. All right, the national median. I shouldn't have said average. It's median. So this is the middle number. It's not actually an average. So there's stuff that goes way longer than this. When Trump gets charged in D.C., which I expect he will, from filing to disposition, 18 months is the median number in order to get that case disposed. Okay, that's the median. Now, Florida is actually fast. So let's scroll down to Florida, and I'll show you this one. So that's the Northern District, Middle District, Southern District, which is where Trump is. So this one is actually pretty fast. So median time in months here is criminal felonies is 9 months. That's curious, because think about that. We fast forward 9 months from now. Where does that put us? If we go back to our mind map, 7 months from now is going to be the first GOP primary. So 9 months, let's say we go to trial in 9 months, or even 7 months. The trial is happening right in the GOP primary. Do you think a judge is going to be happy with that? Do you think that's appropriate? While people are going into the ballots to vote, they're looking at Trump's name and they're also watching him in trial or something. It's nuts. So obviously, I don't think a judge would allow that to happen. And so then when you get into that window, once you get past February 2024, now we're into election season. So then you have to extend it all the way back out. And right now in DC, for example, we're only 16 months out from the next election. So if they filed in DC, they're still under that 18-month average. My point is, they're running out of time. They need to get this stuff done like quickly. So Jack Smith, he's going to be urging for a speedy trial. They're going to be going fast or very fast. And Trump is going to be delaying. And this is going to be an interesting subtext battle to watch. This is going to be very fun from a tactical perspective to see who's accelerating, who's decelerating, and how it interplays with the politics, because the politics are going to be used as justifications for continuance or accelerations and different things happening. So very curious stuff, and we'll be following along closely. Now, very good news for Donald Trump in this prosecution is that he is keeping Judge Aileen Cannon, and the New York Times is not happy about it. Says she's going to remain the judge. Now, as soon as she got appointed, this hit the Twitter sphere and they all started to go hysterical. And so they actually called the clerk of the court. The chief clerk of the courts of Southern District of Florida said that she had been randomly assigned to the case. Heyo! The criminal case against President Donald Trump over his hoarding, alleged, of the classified documents was randomly assigned to Judge Aileen Cannon. They called on Saturday, talked to a court official. The chief clerk of the federal court system, Angela Noble, also confirmed that Judge Cannon would continue to oversee the case unless she recused herself. Oh, man. But the news of Judge Cannon's assignment raised eyebrows because of her role in an earlier lawsuit. This is where Trump challenged the seizure of his documents. In issuing a series of rulings favorable to him, Judge Cannon, a Trump appointee, issued a series of rulings favorable to him, effectively disrupted the investigation until a conservative appeals court said you don't have authority to actually do that. Under the district court's procedures, new cases are randomly delegated to a judge. That Judge Cannon is handling this elicited the question of how that came to be. How'd that happen? Asked over email whether normal procedures were followed, Judge Cannon's assignment was actually random. Ms. Noble wrote, "Normal procedures were followed, New York Times. How dare you imply otherwise?" Mar-a-Lago is in the West Palm Beach division, between the Fort Lauderdale division and the Fort Pierce division, where Cannon sits. District Court's website has 7 active judges. Ms. Noble wrote that certain factors increase the chances the case would land before the judge. She said senior judges are removed from case assignments. At least one senior judge is done, she wrote. She wrote that one of the 7 active judges with Chambers is now a Miami judge. A third active judge draws the other 50%, and Judge Cannon draws the other 50%. So the clerk said, when she was asked whether Judge Cannon would continue to handle the case, she confirmed that no court practice would return the case to be assigned to another judge. In short, Judge Cannon's assignment is permanent unless she were to step aside. Oh man, they're not happy about that. That really stings for them. So we'll see what happens. Now, the pressure to come to bear on Judge Cannon is going to be massive, and there are already calls for her to recuse herself or other things. So we'll see a lot more of that. Now, there is more here. Donald Trump is traveling into Florida for his arraignment, and there's some interesting things happening, including people in attendance. AP got some details, got some video for us. Here's what that looked like. Trump leaving his residence, heading to Florida. You see him walking into the car there. Secret Service vehicles going to be taking him over. Not any audio, but they are making their way over. You see the caravan leaving Bedminster, New Jersey. Got the drones up in the sky. Golfers waving by. Now we got the helicopter following him around. It says former President Trump departed for Miami on Monday. Will spend the rest of the day in Florida, huddled with advisors. And apparently he's still looking for some other lawyers to add on to the team. Going to make an appearance on Tuesday, then go back to New Jersey, and he's scheduled for a press event. So he's going to be publicly responding to the charges tomorrow after the actual arraignment, which will be very curious to see. That's arriving at the airport, and so you get the gist of it. There's the jet, baby. Now, there was an interesting statement here. I wanted to share this from the Associated Press. Trump and his allies are escalating efforts to undermine the criminal case against him and drum up protests. You see how they phrase that? Isn't that interesting? Undermine the criminal case and drum up protests. Do they mean defend himself against the charges? Because we are presume people to be innocent in this country? Or no, does he not get that benefit of the doubt? No. Undermine the criminal case as though he's already convicted. He's been charged, so clearly he's guilty. Is there anything else to do? I mean, do we really even have to go through all of this? I thought you're allowed to defend yourself in this country, and it's not called undermining the criminal case and drum up protest. To do what? Insurrect the court building? You can see where this is going. We're following the bouncing ball, but it's a concerning thing here when you're not even allowed to defend yourself, lest it be undermining the criminal case, unless people who are outraged by the only federal prosecution of a former president in American history. There's a reason we didn't do this before, and it's not because Trump is bad that justifies this. There are safeguards that they are jumping over because they're so petrified that Trump is going to seize the highest office in the land and wreck everything that they are working on. So the plane arrives in Miami, marking history, federal court appearance on dozens of federal charges. Trump's Tuesday afternoon in Miami will mark the second time since April facing charges, this one involving the espionage charge, which is nuts. He and his allies, listen, have been escalating efforts to undermine the criminal case. Okay, where I come from, which is the world of criminal defense in an America that I thought existed, you're allowed to defend yourself. It's not called undermining. Jerks. He's ratcheted up the rhetoric against the Justice Department special counsel who filed this case, calling him deranged. And he repeated without any evidence his claims that he was the target of political persecution. It's like, what more evidence do you need? Even his supporters accused the Justice Department of being weaponized. He vowed to appoint a special prosecutor to investigate Joe Biden and his family if Trump is elected to a second term. And I hope he does. Trump landed in Miami around 3 p.m. Monday, got into a waiting SUV. He's encouraged supporters. Now, I want to pause on this. He's encouraged supporters to join a planned protest at the Miami courthouse on Tuesday. Right now, there's been a lot of stuff going on. He said, we need strength in our country, and they have to protest peacefully, all right? Trump said they have to protest peacefully. Other Trump supporters have also rallied to his defense. Trump is telling them, look, our country has to protest. We have plenty to protest. We've lost everything. Just so we're clear about this, the last time he said this, I'm not disagreeing with this or making a comment on this, but the last time he said something like this, they impeached him and then they charged him with crimes, right? This is going to be what leads to the DC charges. Trump said, join us on January 6th. We'll be wild, right? The feds were there with Ray Epps on January 6th. It was wild. Something went down. They're going to charge him with crimes for this, for that statement. They're going to use this in DC as saying that this is evidence of why he deserves to be held in pre-trial detention. Other Trump supporters like Kari Lake are rallying to his defense. Trump supporters are planning to load buses from various parts of Miami. City is going to be prepared, hopefully. Manuel Morales, police chief, said, make no mistake about it, we're taking this event extremely serious. We know there's a potential for things to not go right. Yeah, brace yourselves for the FBI agents in the crowd. That's not the Miami way. Well, this might be the FBI way. Be careful. The Justice Department unsealed an indictment. The indictment alleges Trump intentionally retained some documents and obstruction. Now, as I said, I want to put a pin in this. This phrase, right, look, our country has to protest. Watch what people are already saying. This is from Glenn Kirshner. Here's what he said. The standard for pretrial detention is clear and convincing evidence that the defendant is a flight risk or a danger to the community. Trump indisputably poses a danger to the community, more so than the thousands of others who are presently in jail pending trial. So do we see that? They're already asking for him to be jailed, right? They say he caused J6 and insurrected America. They're going to say he's going to do it again. And if anything goes bad, it doesn't even have to be from Trump. It could be from anyone else who's going to be there. They're going to use that as justification to ask for his detention when he gets charged in D.C. I can just see the pieces being moved right now. Miami goes first, so something goes wrong, or something between then and now goes wrong. It doesn't have to be there in Miami tomorrow. It could be anything, anytime. They're going to latch on it, and then they're going to have evidence to support pretrial detention at the arraignment in the D.C. case. So it makes me nervous, and it's concerning. And so when Trump says certain things like that, it makes me very, very nervous. Now, as I said, doesn't mean that anything will happen. I hope that nothing does. In fact, I am very much of the mindset that nothing will happen, but at least from the Trump supporters. But they're not going to be the only ones who are there. As we know, in the Proud Boys trial, there was over 50 informants in the group, according to just the Proud Boys alone. But this came over from Andy, NGO, courtesy and a hat tip over to our friend Bonnie from Locals. Shared this. Andy, NGO, posted this on Twitter. Says, though Antifa claimed to be for the abolishment of prisons in the state, right? The Miami Antifa cell is holding a celebration direct action over the federal indictment of Donald Trump. They plan to be at the Wilkie D. Ferguson courthouse on June 13th. That's the day of the arraignment. They're telling their members to come masked and they are prepared for criminal activities. Here's what they're saying apparently on their Twitter account. Let's celebrate this crook's downfall. Miami, we're the second stop on the Trump indictment tour. DM for parking advice. Dear Trump, you're a crook. Enjoy prison. Sincerely, Miami. Wear a mask. Proud Boys may be there too, right? This is apparently from Miami Anti-Fascist Newsletter. Who knows who is who and who is there for what purpose? But all I know is that they are gearing up and trying to label people for anything that they could possibly imagine. And Joe Biden is doing this weird thing now, where he's got this posted on his Twitter account. He's posted this twice now. He says, if you haven't already, text me at this number. And I have blanked out the number because this is definitely a trap. 100%. It's a trap. Do not text the number anything. They will literally put people in jail and prison for sending messages. I have seen it. Tell me what's front of mind for you and your family this summer. Okay, is what he's asking you to do. This is the president on his Twitter account. It's got 10 million views. A small percentage of people will text something bad to that phone number. And a small percentage of those people will text something that is legally a threat to that phone number. I'm very sure of it. We'll see prosecutions as a result of it. This is the second time he's posted it. So be very careful, my friend. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. We've got people clamoring to put Trump in jail for this. And if Trump is in jail, they'll make the argument that everyone else is his insurrectionist co-conspirator and they deserve to be in jail. And it is a way to incriminate the entire Republican Party. Trump is basically just a euphemism for the right now, right? Which is something that they would like to expand to everybody. So Biden is doing strange things. Antifa's in the house. We know they're demanding Trump be incarcerated even before he's convicted. Something is awry. So be very careful there. Now, we're also watching the Speedy Trial. I don't think that they're going to get it done before the election. We'll see if they do. We'll continue to follow the docket. My friends, thank you for liking this video wherever it is you're watching it, and we'll look forward to continuing to cover